Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Again, my name's Adam Santone, and I'm here to help you with a lesson today on using LaTeX to generate math equations. So this is targeted primarily at anyone that has to write equations. This could be for academic work, if you're an educator, a teacher somehow, even a student writing a report or documenting your methods, solving homework. It could be for a teacher writing homework. This is a really good way to format your equations. So for comparison, think about writing an equation in Word with the equation editor. That's what a lot of people do. But I want to present to you a way that you may not be familiar with. And it uses a typesetting system called LaTeX, which is its own thing. I'm not talking about the entirety of it today, but very, very specifically about writing math equations. I've seen situations where people do some crazy stuff to get math equations look good, but LaTeX excels at math equations. And so if you're using anything else to write them, I really think you should give this a look. So let's jump in. The first thing I want to show you is an online interface for writing these. This is the website Cogs. I've used this before. It seems like a really easy way to do things. So up at the top, we have a variety of buttons you can click, and they give you a long list of symbols that you can use. And you're free to poke around and see what you can find in there that's useful to you. And as you can see, some of these are quite complex. But we'll go ahead and get started here in the editor window. You may notice I've already sort of jokingly put this text value in here. But the way this will work is you'll have the editor here. You can type whatever you want in it, and the result will appear below. I also want to call your attention to some formatting options, and we'll look at that momentarily. And then finally at the bottom, there's a download button, which makes it really, really easy. So the first thing you might want to do, think of the equation that you need for your work. I'll just start with something really easy like y equals x squared. And the way that this works is you type it sort of like I just said it, but to get the squared value here, you just use a caret, and that raises this to the superscript position. So this is the final equation. You can see it looks nice and formatted. And there are a few options for fonts. Typically, LaTeX doesn't have a huge number of fonts, nor would you really need that or want that. It needs to be very straightforward. But this interface gives you a few different ones to choose from. The classic is this Latin modern font. You'll see that in many places, including journal articles, academic works, engineering research, so things like that. And so with that said, I just want to show you some of the capabilities, and we can look at another equation here. So I found this on a math page about probability density functions. And in here, just as an example, we can look at this equation that talks about how the continuous random variable x, capital X, relates to its PDF. So the equation that they give here is something that I wanted to replicate in this interface just to show you how that can be done. So if you needed to write something that's sort of complicated like that with integrals, these square brackets, these upper and lower values of a and b, greater than, less than signs, all that stuff, you can do that easily with LaTeX. It can handle that completely fine. So here's what that would look like. We can see the equation rendered here below, and we can see in the editing box what that would look like in LaTeX form. And I wanted to call out first the PR at the very, very front of the equation is actually surrounded by curly brackets and preceded by \text, which will create a standard text look and not the equation look that is more italicized. So we want that to appear as normal text. And then inside of the parentheses, we have a is less than capital X, as is. And then to get the less than or equal to, we use \leq. Now you can find that up in these buttons as well, but it's something that's fairly common, so I just know that already. So \leq, and then B, and then the equal sign, and then \int for the integral. And then we have a subscript created with this underscore character, and then the content is inside of curly brackets. And then that is followed by a superscript created with this caret symbol. And again, the content is in curly brackets. And then we have the remainder of the equation that looks almost as is, except for the underscore and caret symbol for subscript and superscript, respectively. But what you get is this rendered equation at the bottom that looks really nice. It's standard. It's ready for publication in any form, including journal articles. So at that point, you're ready to go, and you can download that image in many different formats, which are provided below. So that one looks really good. And then another example here is if you have a conditional. So this is often used for writing functions. So in this case, a conditional is a more advanced formatting option. And again, LaTeX can handle it very easily. In this example, we have a \begin and \end, which encloses our two conditional statements. And these are written relatively straightforward with just the numbers and letters as is, but there is an and or an ampersand in between the parts of the conditional statements, which gives them that space. So we have 6x and then 1 minus x and then the ampersand. And then again, I'm using text to enclose if. And then we have 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 1. And then you'll notice these two slashes here give us a new line inside of that conditional. And then this otherwise is wrapped in text, again, just to make it look like normal text. So this type of equation can easily be formatted. And what's great is that this is reproducible. So you can save this and store it. And if you need it again, you can update it or type it again. And what I want to do now is look at the options for downloading. So below the editing window, you'll notice a drop down, and it gives you 4 different options for how you would like to output this image. And so if you needed to embed this in a PowerPoint, probably you would want a PNG that's very large. If you're doing things on the web, an SVG is a wonderful choice because it's a scalable vector graphic, and you can change the size of the image to anything you want without losing resolution. And so one of those two options is probably what I would recommend. Latin Modern is the classic font for this stuff, but you have a few options here if you prefer. And so let's just choose Verdana. And then we have different font sizes. I would always say just go with the larger one. And then you can change the resolution. If you need it to be really large, let's say you're doing this PNG, I would go ahead and choose that largest resolution. You can choose transparent if you need a transparent background. And then down below here, you can just click download. So just to make it show up here, there's the download option. You can click that and get the image right on your computer. And then you can use it in your presentation or whatever it is you need to do. So that's a really good look at how to use this online editor. Another thing, though, that you can do if you're using Quarto for your work to create either instructional content or data science reporting somehow, you can do LaTeX equations right in line with your text. So let's take a look at that. So now I'm in RStudio and I'm looking at a Quarto document. And you can see there's some regular text in here. So the same equation that I showed you earlier is here, but wrapped in 2 dollar signs. So there's 2 dollar signs on either side of this enclosing the equation. And that tells Quarto that you want to write an equation. And it will interpret that and drop it right into your document. And so you can do anything else with it here that you want in terms of formatting, but it's really easy to take that direct LaTeX equation format and put it right into a Quarto document. So if you're, for example, using Quarto to do your homework and write up what you did, what equations were relevant, or if you're writing some kind of report, this is a really nice feature and it makes it easy to talk about math. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're not familiar with LaTeX and you need to work with math equations for instructional design, any kind of academia. It's really nice to know this. So check it out. If you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe and thumbs up on the video itself. And feel free to leave a comment with any other suggestions. Also, please consider buying me a coffee. I have that link up in the video below. And there's also some other options. So check that out and have a nice week. Thanks.